Hello, it's Chris Vetrano, your host of The Gist, a weekly pop culture podcast breaking down all the biggest moments happening in pop culture. Today, of course, we have to talk about the Super Bowl. In order to break down the Rihanna of it all, I couldn't do it alone. So I invited a special guest to join me today to help me relive the year's biggest moments, plus take a trip down memory lane. You know him as the man behind the drum kit for his band New Politics. He's also currently on the road with Alexandra Kay. Please welcome to The Gist, Louis Vecchio. Hey, Lou.
What's up? What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me, please.
Of course, yeah. And obviously, I know that you watched the Super Bowl this last weekend. But before we get to it, because I want to talk all about that and definitely about the music, the halftime show, and then some of your favorites. But first, I also have to just touch on the Vanderpump Rules premiere. I know that you got a chance to watch.
Of course I did.
Is Vanderpump your go-to on Bravo?
It's definitely one. It's one of them. I go between. The only reason why I'm into Bravo is my wife got me heavily into it. I fought it for years, and then I finally just gave in, and now I do consider myself a pretty big fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vanderpump has always been one that I gravitated towards just because I think the drama and I think the crew are just it's hilarious and it never ends, you know. But my second favorite I think is definitely Jersey, which just started up now too. So
absolutely.
But yeah, Vanderpump is definitely top of the list for sure.
Yeah, the premiere, the last few years of Vanderpump have gotten a little off course. I think it was it was really cool in the beginning because it was truly these young kids who were servers at the restaurant. Yeah. And then it kind of started to grow because they obviously became reality stars, and it was not as realistic that they were still picking up shifts for.
Clearly they're not actually serving tables at Sir and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so then they brought in a whole new cast of characters, and then it was 20 kids were on this show, and it was just way too much to keep up with. So I thought I was going to be a little bit off the Vanderpump boat, but this premiere episode, I really dug it. I felt like it had new energy. I described it to someone as I felt like it's where in 90210 the cast graduated college, and then the next year it was they came back and it was just Melrose Place. It's more adult, it's more grown up. They have different kinds of drama, and now they're getting divorced instead of dating and sleeping with each other's boyfriends. And
I totally agree, man. I was kind of pumped just in the beginning, when all of the drama that was going on before the premiere, all of the stuff with Lala, her life, and then all the Katie and Schwartz stuff came out, and it was ooh, this is gonna be a good season. So I was pretty excited to begin with, and I always have to do a Vanderpump dance in the beginning where the song starts, I have to do that every time. So I'm all in, man. I'm all in on this season. I really am.
Yeah, they did a good job so far. I mean, we've only got one episode in, but but it feels right. It feels like we've got some real stuff to dive into. And
for sure.
Who's your kind of go-to on that show? Who's your favorite?
Oh man, I go between. I used to really like the Toms just because I thought their dynamic was hilarious together, and all of the stuff that they've, all of the crazy things they've done. But I still really like Sandoval because I love Emily will always she's what's he wearing? What's he doing right now? I think his crazy whole image thing that he has going on is it's really awesome. I like how he pushes the idea of just really just whatever he wants to look like. He one day looks like a serial killer, the next day he looks like a skater punk, and whatever. I like that, but I think there's something about him that, and it's still that Tom dynamic that I get a kick out of the most. And especially when they get into it with one another, when they disagree or something like that, I'm
totally,
this is funny. Yeah.
They have an authentic friendship that really, you just feel that. It doesn't feel like they're playing it up for the cameras.
Not at all.
No, I think serial killer chic is what he must be going for. So I'm
100%.
sure he would love that definition of his style.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know that there's like a ton of like storyline that we dive into for the first episode because so much is kicking off. You mentioned it, like the divorce obviously was the big sort of headline. Lala's
Yeah.
going through stuff. It actually kind of feels like Lala's going through like very real drama.
Yeah.
Similar to some of our housewives, which I know that there's always like these calls for Lala to become a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And
Oh
now I'm
my
like,
God, that would be.
oh, I mean, she'd be great for that.
Yeah, she'd be great.
And, but I think she's also like, now that's what they're doing with Vanderpump. They're just like more grown up. It's not as like young. So I think we're in for an interesting season.
That's a good point. I never really I didn't look at it like that, but you are right. It's on track to become, like there's the fact that they are all adults now, and I mean I agree with you too. Actually, now I'm backtracking a little bit, but like the drama with Lala is like very serious drama, like that. What's his name? Randall. Like
Randall, yeah.
he really that guy is a piece of work, man. Like
Yeah.
not in a good way. Like all of the stuff that's come out, it's crazy, man. And I like it's even I was even shocked. Like I wouldn't have been surprised if Lala made a decision like after all of this stuff. Like if she was like, I can't be, I don't want to do the show because this is just like so damaging, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad she's on it, and I'm glad like she's kind of speaking out and like making her voice known, and it's
she's
cool.
good TV.
Yeah,
she's good TV, and
100%.
she needs the paycheck. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that's it. Yeah, you're right.
I think like this is the right place for her. But yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of the season kind of play out. And then you mentioned Jersey. Obviously, last week I broke down the premiere of Jersey. We haven't had a new episode that's come out yet. But tell me a little about your like. I mean, you're from basically Jersey-ish.
Yeah, but don't tell anybody else that I'm from Long Island. So
Yeah.
like really that where people get like annoyed is if you say like Staten Island and you're not from like if you're either from Jersey or from Long Island. For some reason Staten Island is one of those places where it's like no. It's Long Island, not Staten Island. But I don't care. It's an island's an island. But I really like Jersey because again, the drama you can't you first of all they're all crazy. There's not one person on that show that is normal, not one of them. Maybe
Yeah,
with the I can't think of her name right now, but like who's the blonde?
Margaret.
No, not Margaret, she's crazy.
The
She's
new blonde.
No, the other. She's been on for a while now. She's always arguing with
Jackie.
Jackie. Yes, her.
Yeah.
She kind of seems normal sometimes. But everybody else is just like, I love, but I mean, to just pick, I love Joe. I love him. I think that the husbands need to have their own show eventually because I think they're, I don't know what the show would be based around. It would just be them getting drunk and like smacking each other and like doing stuff,
Bravo actually did that. They tried it. They filmed a pilot for like the Real House Husbands.
Oh no! Did it bomb?
I think, just like because you need the women's drama to like bring the show together,
right?
But they definitely, I think Jersey, and I don't know, maybe Salt Lake City, but I know Jersey for sure is one of the only seasons where the husbands also are on salary, the same way that the wives are.
Oh, no kidding! I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean that's why they bring it, and they have a good dynamic, and they bring like some comedy into it. And I think being a good Italian boy like yourself, I think like I relate to you and the Jersey because it feels like family. Like I mean, we just talked about how crazy they are, so hopefully no family's taking offense. But it's a little it feels like home a little bit.
It does, man. I mean, just honestly, like what it feels like home is just the volume of the conversations that are because it's just always 11. Even if people are just like talking, like in my house on Long Island, we're just always been a loud family. That's just how I was always raised. It's how we are. And I feel like listening to that it makes me laugh. And just certain things the ways that like words come out of their mouths. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I heard that. Like my mom has definitely insulted me like that at one point in my life.
Yes, exactly. No, it's perfect. We'll definitely have to break down more Jersey chats over some whiskey late night talks coming up as the season goes on.
100%. Yeah.
But cool. Well, let's like switch gears now into the Super Bowl because obviously it's kind of the biggest thing everyone's talking about. And coming out of the Super Bowl, you know, I'm not a sports guy. I didn't catch much of the game. I hear that the red
Mhm.
ones won, um, and but I think that's a good thing. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, Kansas City obviously took home the win. But I think ultimately that the biggest headline is, of course, the halftime show with Rihanna. Dying to know what your thoughts
Yeah.
are. Let's have it.
Oh man. Uh, First of all, it was a great game. It was a really good game. You know, non-sports people and sports people was very
Yeah,
entertaining. So hats off to both teams. Um, the halftime show, man. First of all, I love Rihanna. I've loved Rihanna since she first came out on the scene, and uh, I was a little nervous because I know sometimes these artists, like newer artists, will either come out and just like do the thing and like blow through it really quick, almost like seems that
hmm
way, or they're gonna put a show on. And as soon as the lights went dark and like you saw those platforms that,
yeah,
that she was
yeah.
on,
Those were wild.
and that it was so sick,
Yeah,
man. It kind of was like a little reminiscent to like Gaga jumping off the top of the
yeah,
thing with like the drones and stuff.
yeah,
So I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. She looked beautiful. She sounded great. Um, it was everything I could have wanted in a Rihanna show. I mean, I would have. I mean, I'm trying to think if there was like any songs that. Oh, this is I could have done with like an appearance, like
yeah,
someone walking, like joining her for like a little bit,
yeah. Totally. I think she
you
needed
know.
it.
Yeah, but then again, also like the opposing side to that is like it's Rihanna. She really doesn't need anybody to like do her thing, and
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was really cool too. That she was just like, no, I'm just gonna stand up here. She was pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Did I read that?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that was the thing. I think that my take on it is probably less enthusiastic as than yours, but for the last couple of weeks I've been talking about it on the podcast. There's been this rumor that I had heard that she was going to announce a world tour following the Super
yeah,
Bowl. There was also, because Apple Music was promoting or was sponsoring the halftime show, there was a lot of rumors and talk that maybe she was going to surprise drop an album at the end of the performance, and there was a lot of hype about this like big surprise. And then she came out and she did say, actually, in an interview, I think it was last week, that she was thinking about bringing somebody along on the performance. Which we then, of course, found out that it was her unborn child.
unborn baby. Yeah,
And I mean,
right,
I
right.
guess like, that baby's already world famous and and good for it.
Yes, a superstar.
But I felt like
Yeah,
it almost distracted because there was like a lot of talk. I immediately took to Twitter when I saw her start, because I was like, okay, are we talking that, is she pregnant? Did she just announce it with this look? Or, she
yeah,
wasn't very long ago that she had her first child. And so,
right, right.
I didn't want to shame anyone, or, I was like, it's
Yeah,
Rihanna, but like, this seems odd, like an odd costume choice if she's not pregnant, but why don't we know this? And I felt like it started to distract from her actually performance, because then I was just like watching her bump the whole time, being like, is it, or is that a
right.
bump?
Is
Or
she? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really funny you say that because I didn't catch it at first either. I didn't see that's what was going on. And Emily was like, "Oh, I think she's actually pregnant." Because being me, being an idiot, was like, "Man, I was expecting Rihanna to like show a little more
yeah,
skin and like be in a Rihanna
totally.
outfit right now." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then Emily was like, "No, I think she's pregnant." I was like, "Oh, okay. This makes sense
And I
now."
also think that, like, had I known that she was pregnant, I might have felt a little different about the performance, because I did think that she was like a little low energy for Rihanna, knowing that I've like seen her
Right.
perform before. She dances. I mean, she is a dancer as well. And
Uh-huh.
I felt like there was just like a little bit of lackluster at one point. She was like sitting down on the stage, and I was just
Yeah.
like, wait,
Yeah.
this is Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like, why is she sitting here? Like, we need
Right.
something else.
Yeah.
But I know that like when women are pregnant, like it also like is really difficult to sing. You've got like less lung capacity and all of those things. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm giving her a break, obviously, but yeah, I think I read too, you mentioned the solo thing. I I think this is a fact, but I don't know this to be accurate because there's obviously been a long history of the Super Bowl, but I think
Yeah.
that Gaga is the only other artist that has done it solo without other special guests or without it being several acts.
Wow.
So she is now the second artist to do that. And like you said, it's Rihanna, so it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know. I didn't. But yeah, you're right. I forgot Gaga. She didn't bring anybody out, or no one was there. Again, unneeded. Like to a certain extent, it's just for us to view. But I mean, I think like overall, I mean, listen, when you're Rihanna or when you're a Gaga or whoever, most of these artists that get the chance to do the Super Bowl halftime show, like you're already a megastar. And for me, it's like just that category, just the catalog of songs that she played in the order
Mm-hmm.
of them and the way that they went in, the band and whoever like made those go in and out of one another. It's like it's a
Yeah.
hit. You can't deny it. And even as a fan of her music, I was watching this last night and I was like, oh my god, this is her. This is an
Yeah.
amazing. Like I totally forgot about like two of the songs at the top of
Mm-hmm.
like the set, and I was like, oh wow, this is great. This is great to hear it
Yeah,
like this.
I was like surprised too because she started it with "Bitch Better Have My Money," and I thought like, wow, that's like
Yeah,
what a way to start the Super Bowl. Like this might be really
so
controversial,
hardcore.
and so I didn't know where she was going
Yeah,
to go from there. But I thought it was really good. You mentioned the platforms. I thought that was like definitely the highlight of the performance. I thought that it was like very
totally.
cool the
Yeah,
way that they did that. My favorite shot. I ended up posting it on Instagram because I just thought like that's a shot that was going to go down in history. At the very end when she's singing Diamonds and you just see like all the lights behind her
oh, with the
and like the
light.
camera
Yeah,
zooms out
yeah,
and there's like fireworks going above. And yeah, it was like a
beautiful.
gorgeous shot. I think um,
Yeah.
the other thing about the Gaga situation is that now I compared it to Rihanna, and Gaga
Hmm.
had costume changes and just like her dancing was like out of this universe. It was like so insane the way that she was dancing. Um, but yeah, and I didn't feel like Rihanna didn't ever change. She didn't do a lot of movement. And so I did
Right.
kind of want more, but I thought it was good. I thought it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I get that. I do get that. And I actually like stop myself sometimes because I'm in the music industry. So, because I usually have that opinion all of the time. It doesn't really matter who I'm seeing or especially for like this big something as big as like halftime shows. And I try to stop myself and be like, the majority of people that are watching this don't
What
understand
goes into it?
what goes into the production and like all this other stuff. So like sometimes keep your opinions to yourself. But I do agree with you. I do think that there could have been a little bit more like of even if it was just like props, something
Yeah.
moving around. Given that she was pregnant, I get that she stayed in one look, and that was cool because she looked beautiful, she looked
Hmm.
great. I think the dancers were really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught this, but a lot of people are like comparing the dancers' outfits to that like Chinese balloon
Oh
thing
yeah.
that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people. I was laughing about that, but I thought they looked awesome. I thought like the dancers were on point with her. Like they were so tight.
Totally. Yeah.
And then it was, but I'm the same way, man. Like I watched these, and I was thinking because I knew we were doing this, and I was thinking about like my real favorite, like which one I
Yeah.
always go back
Yeah. I
to,
want to know.
and Gaga is definitely one of them. But really, where I go back is Prince.
Mm.
Prince's performance, like I'll never forget that, man, because I feel, first of all, I feel like a lot of people don't know is that most of the music, even when you see bands like like a full band, most of that is pre-recorded because
Yeah.
they just don't have the time to like set up the audio and stuff, and it's a crazy. I mean, the vocals are almost always live, but everything else that you're seeing is either it's just they're playing along, syncing, basically pretending.
Right.
I truthfully think that Prince's band, I think they figured it out. Like, cause I've gone back and I've like watched it, and obviously his guitar is live, but I'm like, there's no way that they can like be this good and like sound this live. Like, I mean, if they do, like, kudos to them.
Yeah.
It's like, but I remember that, and another one too, man. Bruno Mars blew me away. His
Yep.
performance too,
Yep. That was a
and
good one.
he was another guy another artist who I thought was like because they brought like a drum kit out and he did like solo,
Yeah. That was
and
cool.
I was like, wow, that drum kit is live. He's not making this up.
Yeah.
So I thought like those two and three always stick out in my head. I was really disappointed with the Maroon 5 one, to be quite honest with you. Like when they did that, um,
Yeah, I think,
you know,
and I think it's hard because obviously it's like you're being judged because it's the biggest stage in the world. These
yeah,
artists, like, they have so long to prepare for the performances, and when it doesn't deliver, it's like I feel like it's that much more of a letdown. And like in a normal day I
totally.
probably would have thought like Rihanna's show was great, but because it was the
Yeah,
Super Bowl, I like have this like extra kind of like magnifying glass on it. And yeah, I feel like
totally.
I do think like Maroon 5's was like that. I think like Justin Timberlake is one where like that could have been like epic. And I just remember being like, wow, that was kind of a fail.
Yeah, you just played the songs, or just like sang along, which again, when you have a catalog like that, it's like we're just here to listen to the songs. But to your point, it's like you're on the biggest stage of the on the planet
Yeah,
right now. Like, you know, I want to see some stuff. I want to see some fireworks. We want to see someone jump off the top of the Superdome. You know
exactly.
what I
and
mean?
and
Like,
also like, I mean, you mentioned the Bruno Mars like drum thing, like that was like different and cool, and it like tied into
yeah.
obviously like sports and all of that. And it
Mhm.
felt like he was leaning into the fact that he was at the Super Bowl. And I think that's what
Yeah.
it really takes. So Prince is your all-time favorite?
I think so, man. I'm a huge, huge Prince fan. Um, but I think he would definitely be up there, like as my number one. I'll never forget it, just because I think he's just such an icon.
Yeah.
He's like one of those artists where I truthfully don't think we'll ever get another one.
Yeah.
Like him. Um, so to see that, and I was young. I think I was pretty young when that happened. So, but like I remember that. I'm trying to think if there was like, I mean, like the Stones did it, right?
Hmm.
Rolling Stones did
Yeah,
it. That was,
I think like, that's another one where like they played it, their songs. To me, it was like
yeah,
being at a
right,
Stones concert. So it didn't feel like
yeah,
they did anything like super special with it. And that's, to me, that's
no,
what the Super Bowl should have, is like something really like spectacular. And so I definitely like Prince, Michael Jackson, like these are ones
Michael
that I like
Jackson,
am
yeah,
thinking of as like really great. But I also want to, and I think it's my favorite. Gaga is also up there. We watch it all the time.
all the
It's
time,
just, it's a
yeah.
really good watch. But is the Aerosmith and NSYNC Super Bowl. Um,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
the
right.
reason I love that one so much, I think Total Request Live, TRL for folks that actually know what that means. When MTV used to play music
Music
videos,
videos.
um, I think they were the sponsor of it, but it like I just remember it. Obviously, I loved NSYNC and I loved TRL and all of that during that time. But what I loved was like there were so many surprise guests. So
Yeah,
we had Britney come out, obviously, which is going to be the closest to a Britney Super Bowl halftime show I have a feeling that I'm going to ever
never
get.
get.
So I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
But Nelly, Mary J. Blige, like it just like I felt
Wow.
like people just kept coming out,
Yeah.
and I remember being like, oh, this is like really cool. And all these artists don't like necessarily always interact together. It's like
Yeah.
really blending different like genres. And
Yeah.
I thought that one was like really spectacular too, that
Yeah.
I think we don't talk about enough, but I will be here to be the voice of it.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I forgot. I forgot. I mean, I knew that it was Aerosmith and NSYNC. I forgot how many people came out on that one. And you're right. That it was just like boom, one after another after another. And I agree with you, man. It's like for that again, for that to be your stage, like I feel like you pull out all the stops. And it's also
Yeah.
too like another thing that I feel like maybe it is common knowledge now, but these artists like you don't get paid to do the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Like it's just like they may give you a production, budget or whatever
Yeah.
it is, but like most of these artists are not getting paid. Like I think I might have read that Michael Jackson was the only one of the only artists to like actually make money or get paid. Like I
Really.
think they gave him like $1 million. And I don't know if it was like $1 million like for him to take home, or if it was
Yeah.
$1 million like on top of like the production budget or whatever it was. But
Yeah. I don't
it,
know how that works. Yeah, I know
it,
that you don't
it
get paid, and everyone
no,
like has been talking about how like Rihanna didn't get paid.
yeah,
And I'm like, no one
no one
does.
does. Yeah,
The NFL pays for the folks like the band and the dancers and stuff. They
yeah,
get
they get
paid.
paid. Yeah,
the NFL pays for the production. And
Hmm.
so they put up a budget. But I remember The Weeknd said that like he paid like $7 million out of his own
Yeah.
money to like do his production, which I
Another
mean,
one
to
that
just
was
be,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't love it. I don't even know if I finished watching it, to be honest. I remember being like, this is really odd. And then like he had hyped it so much that I was like, no,
Yeah.
you oversold it for
This
me.
ain't this ain't it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I kind of agree with you on that too. I love The Weeknd. I like him, but I, a Super Bowl person, like I don't know if I think they might have jumped the gun a little bit with putting him on for that
Oh
personally.
yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
Um,
But I
yeah,
think like also like you don't you're the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl truly is the biggest kind of stage in the world. And so, I mean, you have to imagine that after you perform, your sales are probably
oh
skyrocketing
yeah,
for at least the weekend or at least
yeah,
for the next week. And if not longer, and it makes you relevant. And if you do it right, like Rihanna should have done, you release an album, you surprise drop an album and you give the fans what they want after
yeah.
7 years.
Right.
And
Even a
instead
single,
she's
even a single
anything.
something. Yeah.
Well,
Eh,
and Apple like posted something leading up to the Super Bowl that they had said like they were promoting the artwork for the Super Bowl, and it said something like "Come here to stream the performance live" and her new single, and like so people started like going crazy online, like, "Oh, Apple just confirmed she is going to release something," and then it never came. And I think that this pregnancy put a stall on all of those plans.
on the whole, yeah. Well, listen, I'm happy for them. I hope
Yeah,
that,
of
I'm sure
course,
it's
of
going to be
course.
great. But I definitely, I my own selfishness, along with you, I was really hoping for some new music and or something. Like I mean, a new album and a tour would have been like
Hmm.
top notch. But I would have been happy walking away with just like a new single. And
Yeah,
it's funny that you brought up like the like what being on that platform or on that stage does for you. I don't
yeah.
know where Rihanna's like monthly plays were on Spotify before last night. I'm sure they were insane, but I just looked like this morning and it's like almost 80 million monthly listeners.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
That's
I wonder.
insane, man.
Yeah, that is research that I probably should have done. I don't do a lot of research for this, but I probably should. But yeah, I should have looked at that because that is so interesting. I wonder like
To
how
see the
much that
jump.
truly changed. It has
Yeah.
to change like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, again, she hasn't released music in 7 years. So it's like if for fans that already have experienced all of that or purchased that music, it's like it's already done. So it is interesting to see like, are they going to revisit her old stuff and skyrocket
Right.
sales, or is it just that everyone's preparing for Rihanna, so they were playing it all weekend long,
It's
getting ready
yeah.
for this show, trying to remind themselves of which songs they wanted to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly probably like a pretty big combination of the both of that. What's really interesting to me though is like I don't know how people would figure this out is there's probably a whole generation of people like younger kids now that didn't come up with Rihanna. You know what I mean? There is another generation. So I would like to know like what percentage of that jump are like brand new Rihanna fans. Even if they're
Yeah.
older, like, first time, oh, my 80-year-old grandmother came to the game and saw the
Yeah.
Rihanna show and now she's a fan. So I'd love to
Yeah.
know that, like, who's doing that, versus like, oh, we're all here for Rihanna because we loved her for years.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very interesting to see. Um, and I think, yeah, I would love to see 80-year-old grandma just like dig into
Yeah.
bitch better have my money and and drop it low.
Work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
We'll love her to sing along to work.
Work.
So who is an artist that you would love to see the Super Bowl that hasn't done it yet?
Oh man, that's a that's a tough one, man. Like dead or alive,
I
or
mean,
like still
sure,
still
yeah,
a band.
like
Like,
it just that you feel like should be because you mentioned like the weekend and that it was like maybe a little too
yeah.
soon for the weekend to get it. I think like I
Hmm.
even thought that about Bruno Mars at the time, but I think like since then Bruno has like kind of proven
Proved
himself
himself.
that he deserved it.
Yeah.
But when things like that, when you get somebody like the weekend and then you're like, yeah, like why is he getting that? Like there's so many other people. Like who would be that person or who would kind of come to mind for you?
I mean, I don't know if they've done it. Well, first of all, I would have one of my all time favorite bands is Led Zeppelin. So if they could somehow come
Hmm.
back and be the original Zeppelin again, I think
Yeah.
I would love to see them do it. Um, but on a more realistic note, Foo Fighters have never done a halftime show, have they? Like maybe Dave came out and like maybe he came out and like, but
Yeah, I
I
could
don't
see
know
him
if
doing
they've
that.
done like they would be. I would like to see them if they haven't already. I don't think they have, and I probably should have done research on that too. But that that is, I think, in the rock world, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in the rock world, like that, they would be a good band to see because I think they're super entertaining. Like with a little bit of more, like with crazy Super Bowl production, they could do something really cool. Taylor, the original drummer, passed away last year,
Yeah.
so that and Dave just has like so many friends, like celebrity friends and artist friends that he would be one of those people I could see like having every single person come up and like
Totally.
from every genre and just play, and do some cool
That
stuff.
would be great.
Um,
Yeah, that would be a
there,
good one. I think we're due like for a rock one. I feel like it has been a
yeah,
minute since we've
it's been
had
a
like a
minute.
good rock show.
Yeah, who else? Who else was I talking? I think I was just talking. Oh, Sia. I would like to
Mm,
see Sia do like a crazy. I love her songs. I love her stuff. I mean, she's
yeah.
probably written for everybody, along with her own career. But
Well,
um,
Diamonds for Rihanna.
Diamonds,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was talking to Emily about that last night, and I was like, how come we haven't seen Sia do a halftime show? And she was like, yeah, you're right. That could be really good. Although I know Sia has like her thing where she just kind of like stays in one place, so that
Yeah.
might be. But I feel like they could create other stuff around her that like
Yeah.
that would like be amazing
She's also like I think horribly shy, which is why she does the like thing with
with
her
her
hair,
hair.
like
Yeah,
so that she can't see the audience and stuff is
yeah,
like so that might be like a little too much for her. But
right.
even if she came out, Sia could have come out last night with Diamonds, and I mean like that would have been
Mind
amazing
blowing.
to see
Yeah,
like them do that. And that's the kind of thing I think too with the Super Bowl is like that's the opportunity. Like you want to pair the songwriter who's like very famous for having written Diamonds and the actual like artist who made the song such a huge massive smash. It's like
absolutely. Yeah,
that's the time to get them together and like put them
for
on
sure.
stage to do it together. So maybe a missed opportunity, but again, Rihanna's Rihanna, and she brought her baby and her Fenty Beauty
Yeah,
compact. She
yeah.
gave that a shout out in the middle of the performance.
She wasn't leaving the stage without doing that, man. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, of course, I want a Britney Super Bowl halftime show, but I know that we're very far from getting there.
Yeah,
But I would love to see that, and I think like there's some other folks that I like that come to mind for me, like a Kelly Clarkson. I think could be amazing. She's having such like a
100%.
massive like couple of years, and then the rumor was that actually Taylor Swift was invited to
Mm,
do the Super Bowl this year, but declined it because I think she wants to release all of her Taylor's versions first, so that
yeah,
when she has the
smart.
massive uptick of song
Yeah,
sales, it's something that she owns. So I think that maybe that's something we will see at some point.
I definitely agree with you. I feel like Taylor might even be next on the list. Like if they can get her up there, um, for sure. I feel like she's there. I agree with you with Britney. It's kind of shocking to me that Britney hasn't done it yet,
Yeah,
which is weird. But I don't, I don't want to wish anything bad against Britney, but I feel like that's slowly fading
yeah,
away, for us. But I
yeah.
would love to see Britney, like toxic Britney, like it's
Totally.
like, you know what I mean? Like Britney
Yeah, I
peak.
mean, honestly, like when she was doing the Vegas residency and doing all of her hits and stuff, I think that was like the time to do it because that's the type of show that people want to see on the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think that time may be passing, but who
Mm,
knows? Maybe in 10 years from now we'll be sitting down to talk about the Britney halftime show,
right. Yeah, you
and
can see. Yeah.
she'll be like a Madonna and have her 40 decade
Yeah.
or yeah, 40 years, not 40 decades, but
Yeah.
someday,
40
yeah,
decades. Yeah.
40
Yeah.
decades of
I
music.
mean, it could happen. I mean, again, like look at Madonna. She's, yeah, just like you said, she's having a resurgent. Like she's going to do a massive tour right now.
Hmm.
So hopefully Britney will be on that same path. I hope, man. I I try not to look at all the bad stuff about her that's going on in the internet, in
Hmm.
the internet and stuff like that. But I mean, she's just paved the way for so many artists and so many young people, like from our generation. Like she's so, I mean, she was awesome.
Yeah.
Like she should be, I hope she does have another chance. I hope she does like come back because she would be sick to see on that stage. Just like she's got so many songs that are just like,
Yeah.
it's, even if you're not a fan, like you just can't deny those
Oh
songs.
yeah, and she, she had a song with Rihanna, S&M, that people did think maybe she would make an appearance at the Super Bowl because she
Yeah.
was like hitting the studio again. But I knew that probably was a very, very slim chance. But I think anytime that I hear rumors of Britney making some kind of comeback, I hold on to them with dear life.
Right, right. Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
Other notable on the Rihanna halftime show is, I don't know if you saw The Interpreter, but this girl,
Oh, no, I didn't catch the interpreter.
she's like becoming like a viral like smash hit because now I said Rihanna felt a little sleepy with her dance moves. Her interpreter, on the other hand, was fully feeling herself. Her name's Justina Miles, and you'll have to look her up because like literally this girl was getting down to the Rihanna show. Like she was
Oh, I
way more
love
than
it. I
Rihanna
love
was. It
it.
was amazing. Like you'll definitely have to check that out.
I Is this the same? Because I know I saw like a viral video of an interpreter like I think I want to say at a Cardi B concert, at a Cardi B show, and she was signing, and she was
Beauty.
like popping off, dude. Like she was going
Uh,
crazy, and I wonder if it's the
I
same. I wonder if
wonder.
it's the same woman. That's amazing if it is. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I love
Yeah,
that.
I'll have to find out because that I think I've seen that too. It was like an outdoor festival or something.
Yeah,
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 I do
yeah. And she's
remember.
like,
I can't remember what she looked like though otherwise, but yeah, I saw the video of her doing the Rihanna one and I was like, wow, this girl is like she knows what's up.
I gotta catch that. I think that is so cool, man. When like the emotion that the interpreters like bring, it's like you said, it's a whole other aspect of the show. Like to watch that, it's like
Mm,
ooh, go back and forth.
yeah,
It's very cool,
amazing.
very cool.
Yeah, and then Chris Stapleton did the anthem. I thought he killed it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really
he
good
crushed. Yeah,
interpretation of it.
he he crushed it. I was a little. I mean, the babyface thing at the very
Yeah,
beginning.
underwhelmed.
Um, yeah, I mean, I wasn't like nothing against Babyface. I mean, first of all, I haven't even heard of Babyface since
I
like
know.
I don't know in '91, like whenever. But I mean, I don't know. I was a little underwhelmed with that. But Chris Stapleton, I mean, his voice just like gives you chills. Like he's just got one of those voices that it's
Yeah.
crazy, and you don't have to listen to that kind of music. You don't have to, but as soon as he sings, it's captivating. And you have to listen. And I really liked the way he sang it. I think it was great. A lot of people were moved to tears, which was, I mean, it's pretty. That happens a lot
Yeah.
at Super Bowl, but I feel like I think he did the right thing. That was
Yeah.
cool. I like the way he did it.
Yeah, I mean his voice is
Um,
so, unique, and when I first heard he was doing it, I was like that's such a hard song to sing and like is he going to hit those notes and how's he going to do it? But I thought
yeah,
he did a really awesome job and it was his
yeah,
own version, his own take of it and it's never going to be Whitney Houston, but it's
no,
very Chris
no,
Stapleton, so he did a good job of it.
yeah. He made it his own, and it was cool. I feel like a lot of times, a lot of artists try to make it like they'll try to do that and make it their own, and it doesn't come off the right way or it doesn't get delivered. He smashed it, and it was cool. Like I enjoyed watching that. Like a lot of times, it's like you never know what you're gonna
Yeah.
get. You're either gonna get like great, because it's the same song over and over again, right? But you're either gonna get someone that delivers it great or someone that just sings the song. He definitely took it and ran with it, and I thought that was really
Yeah,
cool.
it was really good. I think other things from Super Bowl, obviously every year people tune in to see what the commercials are going to be.
Yeah,
Any notable commercials from your perspective?
I like the Wait, there was one, and I'm blanking on it.
I
Uh,
mean, I think I feel like there's one that seems pretty obvious for you.
yeah, well, I'm complete. There's Dave Grohl. There's a Dave Grohl one that I really liked. Right? Is that the one I'm talking about? They're like in the studio. I'm
I don't know
pretty
if I saw
sure.
that
I
one.
honestly, man, Yeah, I blanked on the because I knew you were going to ask me this question. I knew we were going to talk about this, and I was like trying to like make a mental note of these commercials. But there was one that really stuck out in my head, and I'm
Maybe you need
blanking
to
on it
scratch
now.
behind your ear and remind yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dunkin', that's right. Ben Affleck at the
Yeah.
Dunkin' counter. You're so
Yeah.
right, man. I thought that was great. That was hilarious. And honestly, when I was watching that, I was like, I was like, oh look, Ben Affleck's at Dunkin' Donuts because of all those memes that have been
Yeah.
coming up with him like ordering Dunkin' Donuts. I was not expecting J Lo
I
though to
know.
show up through the drive-through. That was
I
pretty
loved
awesome.
it.
That was pretty
Yeah,
great.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I feel like maybe we could like use another rom-com with them. They like had like I felt like it was just funny. Like I really enjoyed that one for sure. And for the listeners, just so that they have full context, you have a Dunkin' Donuts tattoo behind your ear,
yeah, behind my
which is
ear.
why I assumed that was going to be your favorite.
It was honestly, man, it was, and I did take mental note of that. But there was that one that was really good, and there's another one, and I'm not going to waste time like trying to remember it. But I don't know if it was Dave Grohl or there was one with like a lot of celebrities in it that I thought was really funny. The Ben Stiller ones were really funny
Oh, the
too. The
Pepsi
Pepsi
ones,
one
yeah.
where he was like doing the
Yeah.
Zoolander.
Oh, are you thinking of
Um,
the Jack Harlow triangle commercial?
that was funny. That
Okay,
was
there was a
cool.
lot of people in that
Yeah,
one.
that might have been it
I don't
actually.
remember a Dave Grohl one, but I didn't watch the game, so there might have been a commercial or two that I missed.
He's like, oh, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm making a fool of myself. I mean, I
No,
was drinking last night and having fun watching the game. So
as you should have
as
been.
we should.
Uh,
Um,
I was doing the same, just not watching the
game.
game, but just going back and forth. And I was like, oh yeah, there's only like 5 minutes until the halftime show. I can't wait. And then like an hour later, I was like, okay, wow, we have 4 minutes left until the halftime show. I was like, God, this is a long game.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you're
Um,
waiting for that. The game takes forever. Dude. It takes forever.
oh yeah, it was. I think the other ones I saw. Bradley Cooper for T-Mobile with his mom.
That was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was like a little odd, but I liked it. And then of course the Rakuten commercial that revisited Clueless, which is one of my favorite
That's
films.
right.
I thought that hit on all cylinders, and I thought it was very well done and very
Yeah,
funny. And both of the actresses looked really good in it.
yeah, they did. I mean, I can't believe Alicia Silverstone still look. I can't believe they both still look the way that they look. But
Yeah,
Alicia she looks like she hasn't aged like
I know.
a second.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like believable that they're in high school
Yeah,
again. In fact, I just want them to always be in high school and always like be there. I want like them to do a sequel now, and
I know, like a
but I don't
reboot,
think that
like
would.
some sort of
Yeah,
reboot.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
thought about
I need it.
I was thinking about that too, and I saw the commercial. I'm like, are they gonna like do like a Clueless 2 now? And it's like they all have kids, and like their kids are in like high school or something. It'll never work. It'll
I,
never work.
it'll probably never work, but I'll be here for it. I
Yeah,
will see it. I will, be first in line if they get everyone back. Although, unfortunately, some of the cast is no longer really like with us
yeah,
either physically or mentally.
mental.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah,
that like that's on like they're really gonna have to kind of work around that. But they had Elisa Donovan and Alicia Silverstone back for it, and then Christian Siriano made an appearance as well in the video. So or in the commercial.
commercial. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was definitely good. I love that. I love that we're in this period now where like pop culture and everything is like it's almost like a full circle, and we can see it. We're like living like, oh, this was like I watched this like when it first came out, not knowing what this was, and now it's
Yeah.
like it's all of a sudden cool again. All these things are like cool again back in. It's like a lot of people look at that and it's like, oh, I feel old, which I really do. I do sometimes, but then I'm also
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm so thankful. Now I don't feel weird like,
Yeah.
wearing spiky hair and like Jenko jeans again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No, the 90s are very much back. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if you feel this way too, but I feel like we like really were part of like we were the kids of a very cool pop culture moment. Like
Totally.
things like Clueless and TRL and all these things that we're kind of mentioning. Like it was a very cool time of pop culture. And I don't know if like my parents felt that way when, they had stuff. I'm sure that they did, but I always like fall back to the 90s as this like real like pop culture. It's kind of when things sort of shifted from just like, rock and roll or, hip hop
Yeah.
or whatever it was. And like
Yep.
pop music became like so much more. And then everything was influencing each other. Like Clueless was influencing fashion like
Hmm.
crazy. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm part of the era, but it is cool to see it come back.
Yeah. No, man, I agree. I feel like, and again, it's sound like, grandfather in the front yard, but like I do feel like that it was one of the cooler, better, generations, and I'm so happy to be from there. Just because exactly what you said, like so much there was so much change happening, even in the world too. Like if
Hmm.
you really like go deep with
Yeah.
it, like people were bringing different styles of music together, different styles of fashion, and pop music became exploded, and boy bands, girl band, like all of this stuff was happening. Grunge was still like
Yeah.
a huge thing, and it was all of this mixture, and everybody just kind of like you liked what you like, and then like, it was just such a cool, it was a good
Totally.
time to be alive and around, and there was just so much stuff going on. I mean, I feel like in pop culture it's such an important time, and to go back and look at that, because it is like it's just everything's full circle, man.
Yeah.
And to your point, like I wonder like how much our parents like I know my parents wanted to probably beat me up when I came home with like, these big giant baggy pants on, yeah,
Jinkos.
Jenkos, and
Yeah.
like, like wanting to get tattooed. But I wonder if one day like we're going to be looking at that and be like, oh, don't,
Don't
don't
do
do that.
that.
Don't, yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I know. Well, it was weird. I saw like, I don't know if it was like a relative or somebody like posted like a picture of their kids who are like teenagers. And I guess they were going to like a winter formal. And I like stopped at it because I was like, oh look, like they like dressed up like the Spice Girls. And then like I when I like read the caption, I was like, oh, that's like what they're just wearing. That's what like teenagers are wearing. I thought it was like a costume party. And it was like just what they wanted to wear to winter formal or whatever.
That's
Um,
so amazing.
yeah, it was kind of wild, but yeah, it is interesting that it comes full circle, and it does make you feel kind of old because I remember my parents always saying that of like, oh, like you're wearing stuff that I used to wear, and
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
you'd reject that and be like, no, this is like way cooler, and now I see it
right.
like playing out where I'm like, oh, these kids are wearing like what we used to wear.
Yeah, man, 100%. I see it all the time, and I'm just like, wow, it makes me want to. It makes me wish I kept all of my clothes, like what all
I
that
know.
stuff that I had, like because it would have been awesome, you know.
Although, except I think that all of my Jinkos were just like shredded to pieces, like underneath
Yeah,
the heel. And
just
so,
ripped, yeah, like big giant rips and dirty and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, they weren't good. It took my mom a long time to come around on Jinkos. She was like, I'm not getting you those at all. Um, and then like I think my first one, I like convinced her it was like a pair of corduroy Jinkos, and I was like,
yeah,
please, like, and she's like, oh, all right, they're corduroy at least, like maybe they look a little nicer. And then that was like the gateway into like the rest of them, and then I just like full fledged. I mean, now looking at them, I'm like, they still look ridiculous, but you know,
ridiculous. That was the
they'll
style,
they'll
man. That
probably come
was
back.
it. Yeah. I mean, I was the same way. My mom was like, I'm never, never will I buy these for you. And then she finally bought me a pair, and she's like, and I think she had them like, I think she had them hemmed, like, because she thought they were too
Yeah,
long.
probably, I'm
And I
sure.
remember being like, no, they're supposed to be like under your feet or whatever.
Yeah, if
But
they're not ripped, they're not cool.
they're not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what
Um,
a time, man.
yeah. Well, any other notables from the Super Bowl that you feel like we need to dive into?
Not really, man. I mean, overall, it was great. I enjoyed the game. For any sports betting people out there, I lost a lot of money last night that I shouldn't have.
Uh-oh.
But I mean,
Uh-oh.
not too much. I'm not like a crazy, crazy gambler, but I like to put a couple of bucks like on, just because it makes the game more fun.
Yeah.
But I liked when they were showing, like, I always like when they show who was in the audience, like who was watching.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously,
Yep.
Bradley Cooper, they showed. I was shocked that Paul McCartney was there. I thought that was really cool. They
Yeah.
showed a shot of him, and I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that's awesome. That's badass.
Yeah. I saw Adele.
Yeah,
Again, I didn't watch the show, so I probably missed a lot of those takes.
right. I know Adele was there. Bradley Cooper was with somebody else in the box that I can't remember who, but like it was somebody that was like, oh, that's what's his name in the back, or what's her name in the background. But really, what stuck out to me was Paul McCartney because I was just like, wow, man,
Yeah.
this is the Beatles. Like he's just like chilling watching a football game right
Yeah,
now.
and he has a song with Rihanna, and maybe he was
Yeah,
hoping that
yeah.
she was going to pull him up on stage.
She was, that would have been crazy too. That would have been
Amazing.
insane. But whatever. Rihanna is
Yeah.
Rihanna. We got
Yeah,
her.
for sure.
So
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it was a good Super Bowl halftime show. Wasn't my favorite. But it is going to be something that I will remember, and I'll probably give it another watch in a week or two just to kind of like see how I'm feeling as the
How it went.
smoke has as my disappointment that she wasn't dropping an album or a tour announcement. As that starts to
Yeah.
dissipate, I will give it another watch and see.
Absolutely. Also, do yourself a favor. I forgot to tell you this. I can't believe of all this talk of Rihanna. Way back. I was an extra in what's the name of the song? Ooh na na. What's my name? I'm an extra playing drums in that video.
Okay, well, that was the headline. Like, why are you saving that for the wrap up?
Because I literally just thought about that. I remember
Oh
it.
my gosh,
It
that's
was a long time ago.
amazing. Did you meet her?
Yeah, I did. She was a sweetheart. She was super stoned. She the like the we were on set, like all of the extras. I'll never forget this. All of the extras were on set. This is like in the middle of New York City, like
Hmm.
it was shot. And she didn't like block off any streets or anything like that. Like she was just like open. There's like a couple of shots of her like walking down. Like her trailer was like here, and then the extras trailers like in the back and stuff like that. And we just kept seeing like food delivery trucks getting delivered to like her trailer, and with the
Oh
door
my
would
god.
open up and there was just like smoke. Like she was just like, and like it was like delaying the shoot time, and she didn't give a shit. It was so cool, man. So
She's like, I need my snacks.
yeah, and she came out like looking, like she looks in the video beautiful, and we shot it, and I mean, it was a long shoot. Like I was on set with them from like, I want to say our call was like 6 a.m. or something like that, and then I didn't. One of the last scenes was like at midnight, like in Central Park, and it's like this big like drum circle. So we were there all day, and she's like in the middle dancing, and there's only like 4 clips, so you'll be like, oh, that's literally like really quick stuff, but
Oh
I'm
my
in it
gosh,
like
I'm gonna
playing
go watch
drums.
it immediately.
Yeah, I think I'm wearing like a plaid short sleeve like button down. I think. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna go watch that immediately and be looking on the lookout for you. And I love that Rihanna. I mean, of course she was getting stoned, but I love that she's like ordering all this
Yeah,
food
yeah.
while she's filming a video. That's like the type of pop star that she is, and I love that about her.
It was so cool. It was so cool. And she was like the small amount of time that we got to like interact with her, she was so chill. She was so cool. She was really relaxed, very thankful for everybody, and it was a fun experience because usually those things are not always fun because they're so long. Music video shoots in general are very long and drawn
Yeah.
out, like just situations. But they made that fun. She made it cool, and the song was really fun, and we had a fun time. It was. I actually made some really close friends from that.
I'm sure. I mean, you spent the day with them, so
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you had to do something during the downtime.
right.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, that's something that we could have like talked about right at the top. You could, when
I
I
know. I'm
mentioned
sorry.
Rihanna, you should have been like, "Oh yeah, I'm best friends with her. I'm in her music video."
Yeah, she called
But
me last night.
but we just waited an hour to get to it, and I love that. That's perfect. Um, but no, awesome. Well, yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Tell the listeners where they can find you and follow you and keep up with you.
And thanks for having me once again, Chris. You're the best. I'm on everything social media, Lou underscore Vecchio. That's my TikTok. That's my Instagram and my Facebook. The only thing that's different is my Twitter, which I'm not really active on, and that's at Louis, Louis Vecchio. And you can also find me at newpoliticsmusic.com. and Alexandra K's socials. I'm on there all the time. So she's also at Alexandra K Music on TikTok and everything.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and you definitely, if you don't already follow Lou, you should, because he does amazing drum work. And I love, my favorite, of course, is the Saved by the Bell 90.
Yes.
Speaking of like the 90s, the Saved by the Bell 90210 Home Improvement intros that you did. I love it.
Thanks
So
so much,
be
man.
checking
Thank
that
you.
out. But
Yeah.
like I said, thanks so much for being here. For all you out there, don't forget to rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode of The Gist. You can follow me at CM Vetrano on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also on the TikTok now. And yeah, tune in next week. I hope everyone has a great week. Talk to you later. Bye.